We just want everyone to be arrested who has something to do with my daughter's death.
In her final TikTok, 16-year-old Kalesia Williams danced confidently in a light purple crop top and black shorts. The music played softly in the background as she moved to the beat like any other teenager would. Her smile flickered, playful and carefree. It looked like just another moment of fun, something she'd probably posted a dozen times before. But then, something changed. Mid-dance, she suddenly paused. Her eyes shifted off camera. Her smile faded, replaced by confusion, then tension. She looked distracted, maybe even scared. Then the video cut. No ending, no caption, no closure. She never finished the video. Just 20 minutes later, Kalesia was shot in the lobby of the Hyatt Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta. A bullet ended her life at just 16 years old. The suspect, another teenager, just 16 too. But that was only the beginning. Who invited her to that hotel? Why was she there without any adults? What happened in those final moments? And what did she see off camera that made her stop dancing so suddenly? What was she running from? This wasn't just a tragedy. It was a failure of the adults around her, of the system meant to protect her, of everyone who should have been paying more attention. Her family said she was dropped off thinking it was a safe gathering, but she never came back home. If you believe teenagers deserve to be safe, even when they make mistakes, hit that subscribe button right now. And if you're choosing not to subscribe, go ahead and tell us in the comments why this story didn't shake you the way it shook the rest of us. Because at 16, she should have been worrying about dance trends, not fighting for her life in a hotel hallway, and someone needs to answer for that. This story takes us to Atlanta, Georgia, a city bursting with rhythm, ambition, and untold stories, a place where dreams rise like skyscrapers, and sometimes where they shatter too soon. Atlanta isn't just known for its rich culture, music, and Southern soul. It's a city that moves fast, where every block tells a different story. And for 16-year-old Kalesia Williams, known affectionately as Pinky, Atlanta wasn't just a place on the map, it was home. Born on January 1, 2004, Kalesia entered the world as a New Year's baby, a symbol of new beginnings. She grew up in a city filled with flashing lights and tight-knit communities, but also one where dangers often lurk behind the shine. Yet Kalesia stood out. Family and friends called her Pinky, a nickname as bold and colorful as she was. With long, straight black hair, deep brown eyes, and a smile that lit up rooms, Kalesia wasn't the loudest, but her energy spoke volumes. Her presence filled the space. You noticed her. Raised by her mother April Smith and her stepfather Ronnie Savoy, Kalesia was the heartbeat of her home, funny, kind, full of life. At South Atlanta High School, she was more than just another student. She was focused. She worked hard. She was reportedly an honor roll student with a 4.0 GPA, proof that even in a city full of distractions, Kalesia had her eyes on the future. And when the books closed, she turned to TikTok, her personal stage. There she became Pinky, the confident creative teen posting dances, lip syncs, and outfit changes. Her videos weren't just content, they were expressions of who she was. She danced to artists like CEO and Sh0t, sharing moments that made people smile. TikTok was more than fun. It was her release, her joy, her dream. Kalesia spoke of college, possibly diving into entertainment, or becoming a full-time digital creator. Her ambition was clear. Her path seemed bright. And her time. Everyone thought she had plenty of it, but that illusion would shatter overnight. When a life so full of promise is suddenly cut short, it leaves a silence that echoes forever. Kalesia Williams wasn't reckless. She wasn't lost. She was a young girl trying to make her way through the noise, laughing, learning, and building something beautiful. But tragically, she never got the chance to finish writing her story. On the night of December 26, 2020, 16-year-old Kalesia Williams left her home with a promise, a simple, innocent one. She told her mother she was heading to a girls-only sleepover, just a few friends, a chaperoned home, a safe space, a night of music, laughter, snacks, and sleep. Nothing wild, nothing dangerous, nothing to worry about. That's what she said. That's what her mother, April Smith, believed. And April agreed because Kalesia was a good kid. She had no reason to lie. She was responsible. She was respectful. She was focused on school. There were no red flags, no late-night worries, no hidden behavior. Kalesia had earned her mother's trust, and it was the day after Christmas. The mood was still joyful, gifts had just been unwrapped, and the spirit of the holiday still lingered in the air. So April said yes, not knowing, not even imagining, that it would be the last time she'd see her daughter alive, because what Kalesia said, and where she actually went, were two very different things. This wasn't a sleepover. This was a setup, a secret, a lie. Instead of a friend's house, Kalesia went to the Hyatt Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta. A towering, elegant hotel, right in the heart of the city. But this wasn't a sleepover with just girls. There were boys there too. And more importantly, no adults, no parents, no chaperones, no one watching, no one protecting. Let that settle in. A hotel room, a group of teenagers, downtown Atlanta, on Christmas night, and not a single adult in sight. And this wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a last-minute change of plans. According to multiple reports, the hotel room was booked by another teen's parent. Yes, an adult. Someone's mother or father who made the reservation, handed over the key and walked away. Why would any adult rent a hotel room for a group of underage kids on Christmas night and leave them unsupervised? Where was the protection? Where was the responsibility? To this day, April Smith is haunted by those questions because she never received a late-night call saying the girls were safe. She didn't get a message saying they were watching movies or going to bed. Instead, hours later, she got a call that shattered her entire world. The night of December 26, 2020, slowly slipped into the early morning of December 27th. Inside room 320 at the Hyatt Regency Atlanta, things were no longer calm. What began as a night of dancing, music, and teenage energy had turned tense. The vibe shifted. Something was off. By midnight, tensions were rising inside the room. Arguments broke out. Words were exchanged. Someone, still unnamed in public reports, brought a gun into that room. And someone, likely more than one person, was angry. There were no parents to step in, no hotel staff checking in, just teens, a loaded firearm, and a moment that would end in irreversible tragedy. At 12:23 a.m., Kalesia Williams was shot. The bullet entered through her pelvic area, a critical spot filled with major blood vessels, the kind of injury that leaves you very little time. Bleeding and in pain, Kalesia somehow stumbled out of the room. She managed to exit the elevator. She made it into the lobby of the hotel, alone, disoriented, and bleeding heavily. There was no one by her side, no friend supporting her, no adult guiding her, just Kalesia, fighting for her life, step by step, as blood soaked her clothes and the lobby floor beneath her. Security footage would later show her collapsed, surrounded by stunned guests and staff who had no idea what just happened. No one helped. Immediately, even as hotel security arrived and staff tried to assess what was going on, there was confusion. Reports suggest that no one immediately stepped up to say what had happened, who she was with, or why a teenage girl was bleeding from a gunshot wound in the lobby. The people who had been in the hotel room, those who knew the truth, either froze, ran, or stayed silent. Kalesia was eventually rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital. Doctors worked to save her, but her body couldn't keep up with the trauma. She died shortly after arriving at the hospital. Just hours earlier, she had been dancing in her final TikTok video. Now she was gone. A young life, full of promise, ended before the sun even rose. She left home for a sleepover. She ended up in the morgue. How did a simple sleepover turn into a murder scene? Kalesia's final moments were captured in a TikTok video she recorded in that hotel room. In it, she's dancing, smiling, being her usual bubbly self, wearing pink, radiating confidence. But then, halfway through the clip, something happens. Her eyes shift. She looks off camera. Suddenly, she's startled. Someone had just entered the room. Her body moves, her energy changes, and within seconds the video cuts off. That was the last known footage of Kalesia Williams alive. That video should have captured a laugh, not a last moment. She was just 16. She had no idea what was coming. What did she see? That brief moment, just 2 or 3 seconds, is where the questions start. Why did she stop dancing? Who entered the room? Was someone watching her? Was she being threatened? Was someone angry that she was filming? That reaction wasn't random. It was fear, surprise, alarm. And just like that, a harmless video turned into a haunting clue. Some believe she may have unknowingly caught something on camera. Someone who didn't want to be seen. A moment that wasn't supposed to be recorded. Maybe it wasn't the dance, but what the video could have captured in the background. That brief eye movement, that startled glance. It might have been all it took to spark what came next. By the time her mother arrived, she was already gone. And that's when the questions turned to anger. Why didn't anyone call her mom when it happened? Why did it take so long for the hospital to reach her? Why did hotel staff allow a group of teenagers to check in alone? Why wasn't this stopped before it became fatal? This wasn't just a lie. It was a complete failure. A failure of trust, a failure of supervision, a failure of basic protection. Kalicia had dreams. She had goals. She had plans. She was supposed to come home the next day, maybe a little tired, maybe full of stories from the night before. Her mom was supposed to ask her how it went. She was supposed to say, "It was fun." But none of that happened, because someone rented that hotel room. Someone created that unsafe space. And someone else, a 16-year-old boy, took her life inside it. Teens live online. TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. These platforms are their stage, their diary, their therapy. But what happens when those platforms become dangerous? Kalicia used TikTok to express joy, creativity, personality, but that night, that very platform may have put her in danger. The internet gives teens visibility, but sometimes that visibility can attract the wrong attention. Was it the trigger? There's speculation, still unconfirmed, but repeated over and over in the aftermath. Did she film something that someone wanted to keep hidden? Was that one video, the moment she turned her head, the moment that sealed her fate? Some say she was warned not to record, some say she captured someone in the room who shouldn't have been there, some say she was silenced before the truth could reach her followers. One TikTok, one look, one reaction, that may have sealed her fate. How many teens are recording videos at this very moment, not knowing they might be in danger? Subscribe now if you believe stories like Kalicia's should be warnings, not just memories. If you're skipping the subscribe button, seriously, drop a comment and tell us why. Moments after the gunshot echoed through the Hyatt Regency Hotel, staff called 911, and within minutes, Atlanta police had a teen boy in custody. He was arrested right there at the scene. No running, no hiding. He was the one in the room with Kalicia, the one seen on surveillance, the last one to see her alive. He was just a teenager. According to reports, the boy told investigators it was an accident, that he was handling the gun when it fired and struck Kalicia. That's what he said, that it wasn't intentional, that it was a mistake. But a mistake with a loaded gun, in a room full of unsupervised teenagers, still cost someone their life. But the charges were anything but small. Felony murder, aggravated assault, reckless conduct, possession of a firearm by a minor. It wasn't an accident in the eyes of the law. It was violence. It was deadly. It was a life stolen at just 16 years old. But he's a minor. And that changed everything. Because of his age, his identity was sealed. No mugshot, no trial open to the public, no interviews, no detailed timeline. Silence. Even though Kalicia's family wanted answers, they got very few.
Like, this is the morgue. And I was like, the morgue? They was like, yes, ma'am. They was like, well, we're waiting on your daughter's body to come through.
What exactly happened between 12 a.m. and 12:23 a.m.? What led to the argument? Why was a loaded gun in a hotel room at a teen party? Why didn't the adults step in before it was too late? What kind of teen brings a loaded gun to a hotel room party? And why didn't anyone stop it? The gaps in the story police say the argument turned physical and the gun went off. But that explanation doesn't sit well with everyone. Kalicia's mother, father, and friends have all said the same thing. There are missing pieces. Too many things don't add up. Too much confusion in the hours before and after her death. If the boy had the gun, where did he get it? If he was invited to the party, who vouched for him? And if it truly was an accident, why hasn't he spoken out? No justice. Yet, since his arrest, almost nothing about the case has been made public. The teen suspect was placed in a juvenile detention center. He appeared before a judge, behind closed doors. No confession, no public statement, no accountability beyond sealed court files. What haunts people the most? That a child was killed by another child in a place they were never supposed to be, because adults failed to protect them both. Calicia's life was taken, the boy's future was lost, and the silence that followed still echoes louder than the gunshot that changed everything. The question no one can ignore. Where were the adults? Where were the people who should have been watching, guiding, protecting? Calicia Williams was just 16, too young to rent a hotel room, too young to be left unsupervised at a New Year's Eve party, too young to die the way she did. But someone, some adult, booked that room at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Atlanta. A well-known 4-star hotel, security cameras, guest protocols, staff check-ins. So how did a group of unsupervised teenagers get past all that, with no questions asked? Hotel accountability? Did hotel staff know there were minors alone in that room? Did they not notice teens arriving late at night? Did anyone check ID or call a guardian? And most importantly, who booked the room in the first place? Reports say a parent of one of the teens reserved it for the party. Some say it was meant to be a controlled gathering. Others say it quickly spiraled into something it was never meant to be. But one thing's clear, there was no responsible adult supervision. No adults charged. Despite the outrage, despite the press, despite the cries from Calicia's grieving family, no adult has ever been charged. Not the parent who allegedly booked the room, not anyone who knew teens were partying without guardians, not even hotel management. The justice system held a 16-year-old boy accountable for pulling the trigger, but no one else was held accountable for creating the environment that made it possible. You can't give kids adult space and then act shocked when adult consequences happen. April Smith, Calicia's mother, never imagined her daughter was in danger that night. She believed Calicia was at a safe, supervised gathering. Instead, her child was lured into a situation no parent would accept. They lied to me. April says she was misled by both adults and teens. Her daughter was taken to a hotel, not a friend's home. No one told her the truth. By the time she found out, it was too late. They took her somewhere she didn't agree to go. They left her to die alone. Calicia's final moments were spent in pain, confusion, and fear, in a hotel hallway, without comfort, without family. She was later laid to rest in a pink casket, surrounded by heartbreak. Pink was her favorite color. The funeral, filled with tears, was the last chapter her mother ever expected to write. Her final TikTok video, recorded just minutes before the shooting, was posted online and spread across platforms. The clip, meant to be a moment of fun, became a haunting timestamp. Her family never gave permission, but the internet doesn't ask. Now that video circulates without context, reminding everyone of her final seconds, while deepening her family's grief. April Smith continues to fight, not just for justice but for answers, for accountability, and for the truth. Calicia Williams didn't just die. She died in mystery, surrounded by silence. So what really caused the chaos in that hotel room? Was there a fight? Was it jealousy? Was a secret exposed? Was someone recording something they shouldn't have? Someone in that room knows the truth, and someone said nothing. Her phone held answers, messages, videos, calls. But those contents were never made public. Police recovered the device. Yet Calicia's private DM history remains sealed. No screenshots, no transcripts, no public report. The one place where her voice might still speak has been locked away. In the weeks after her death, community outrage erupted. The Justice for Pinky hashtag flooded timelines. Protests were held. Voices were raised. But official updates, almost none. No trial, no press conference, no transparency. For a 16-year-old girl who was murdered in a hotel hallway, there's been an eerie quiet. If this happened to Kalicia, it can happen to anyone's child. That's why we cover stories like this, to expose, to question, and to protect. Smash that subscribe button right now, and if you still won't subscribe, drop a comment and tell the rest of us. How exactly do you sleep at night? Years have passed, and yet the questions still linger in the air like a haunting echo. Will the teenage boy ever face a public trial? Will we ever hear what really happened in that hotel room between 12 hours and 12:23 a.m.? Will any adult, the one who booked the room, the ones who dropped off their kids with no questions, ever be held accountable? Or will Kalicia Williams simply become another name, another TikTok tribute, another viral clip, another forgotten black girl? One final question. Let's be honest, would this story be different if it happened in a different zip code, in a wealthier neighborhood, to a different girl, with a different skin tone? Would the police release more details? Would the hotel face consequences? Would the media keep talking? Or is this just what happens and when young black girls go missing, or worse, are silenced before they ever get the chance to speak? Kalicia Williams was more than a headline. She wasn't just the girl who died in a hotel. She was a daughter, a student, a TikTok-loving teen with dreams bigger than the world allowed her to see, and in just 23 minutes, her light was gone. We live in a time where teenagers are growing up too fast and dying even faster, but if you made it this far in her story, then maybe, just maybe, we're not too late to change that. Because the real tragedy isn't just in how she died, it's in what we do next. Do we scroll past, forget, move on, or do we speak up, louder than ever before? Stay alert, stay involved, and above all, don't let her death be in vain. If you made it this far and still didn't subscribe, tell us why. Seriously, we'll wait. Otherwise, drop your thoughts below. What do you think really happened in that hotel room? No theory is too wild, no voice is too small. Let's talk about it. Because if we stop talking, they stop caring.